Hello everyone, Guyan here, and I wanted to talk about hooks and motivators. Now, this is a fun one for me just because I kind of am just making these terms up on my own as I intuit what I'm doing in game design. So then, um, as I've been kind of looking into how I wanted to portray it, I found that it aligns very closely to something that I'll talk about in this, which is the MDA framework. But I think the difference about it is that it's simpler terms and it's more a description of intuition and how to see the things more so than the actual framework itself. So, I mean, I'm going to send you some links and show some pictures about that on top of what I'm talking about because I think they're both very synergistic and really, really cool to know about game design. So, I'm going to click this button. Pew! I'm trying to get vamped up with all the things. So let's see. What hooks? Hooks and motivators. Pew. Da, 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 da. So what is a hook and what is a motivator and what are hooks and motivators and why do I want to talk about it? So the thing about a hook is that it hooks and it pulls. Hooks pull. And then a motivator, um, I don't know a good picture because what the hell is, uh, oops, push, motivators push. So what am I getting at? So I've been talking about this a lot lately, which is funny because I just feel like, wait, haven't I been talking about this already? When I talk about hooks and motivators, these are like kind of the things that I look at uh, basically all the time, but this is what you're looking at when you're thinking of gameplay and the experience you're trying to make at the end. Because the experience you're trying to make at the end is a subjective result of a person receiving your entertainment media. And it's like, well, how do you get them, well, basically all the way through, and then have them be smitten and changed by the journey or the effort? Um, so then this is where I find kind of hooks and motivators to be a thing. And you'll hear in circles like people talk about hooks or people's motivation. I talk about motivation a lot and meaning. But they're kind of just loosely tossed around and said and stuff like that. But I find in my case, I have some very particular definitions and differentiations between these two. So the reason why I find that people and myself can use it very interchangeably is that a hook, when you're talking about like advertising or like even just presenting your game as the first thing, like your game page, web page, or your first trailer and stuff like that, what you're doing is making hooks so that people go, holy shit, this is so cool. And it's usually referred to into like, oh, use like crazy sound effects and, you know, the pacing has to just grip them and all that stuff, right? Um, and yeah, I mean, that's a motivator. Like, buy my stuff and, you know, get my things. And you know, the cool effects are motivating me to want to get really into this series or whatever. Um, but even in what I'm saying, I'm describing two very slightly different things. And the whole thing is that a hook you can make and a motivation you can uh, tease out, I guess, is the closest I would say to the control you have. So hooks you can make. Um, and that's all we're making hooks. Hooks is the game, is the name of the game. But then the motivators are emergent. And this is where I'm using these terms because they are actually, um, they span other thoughts and disciplines. Emergence is the properties for something to have something unexpected come from it, from the culmination of its parts, or um, without a plan or a scripted desire for it to happen. it emerges anyways. Um, and so then motivators are what we're aiming for. Hooks are trying to make motivators happen. And I think this is that cool thing of like, it's not that we don't know these things or haven't thought of them or used them even in what we're trying to look at, but I love when you can try and like quantify it or like put it down in like a little a pointed way. Um, so because we're making the hooks, um, we're like our hands and what we do with the project are all hooks. And basically, in my opinion, you shouldn't be thinking of hooks as like, oh, a hook is this like up on a pillar, uh, this hook. Like, oh, this is our hook, duh. Because again, advertising kind of suggests that. But I'm not talking about this kind of hook. What I'm talking about is that literally this pillar is made out of hooks. And, um, you know, these little beam particles are little hooks, flying out of it. And this hook is, a hook made out of a culmination of hooks that are hooks, right? So what I'm getting at is that if you're not making hooks, don't make it, if you will. And I mean, that's a bit hyperbolic. I'm being extreme here. But it's like you should be thinking in density like this. Like, um, well, I'm going to argue density, but with eloquence is like you never want too many hooks. You don't want to just because then there's no direction, there's no idea. Because what it is that a motivator happens. So a motivator is, here's our little motivator. This guy wants to go over there. But it's just locked away in a box somewhere. And it's like, well, um, this is another thing about how design and stuff like that, we're making it so that uh, uh, go happens. So then um, that means that that's the key to this lock. And now emergently, the player wants to go. So go is the hook, and now you've unlocked this chest, which is, oh, the player wants to go. But I call bullshit on that, because why the hell would the player want to get the game in the first place when every other game has go happens as a property of it? Um, and so then um, you're not quite doing this right. Uh, go somewhere, go is a motivation that can be accessed, that can be harnessed. And the question is, do you want to? And so then that always has that whole like, there's a tunnel, and it's like, ooh, a dark, gloomy tunnel, and it's like dark in the back. And then, there's that winding road, and it's cobblestone road, and there's all the trees, and they're glistening or not glistening, shining over, and then there's the dark shrubbery and stuff like that, and it's this brilliant archaic thing. So then we all know this one. It's like, go there, go in there. So then you'd argue, well, that's easy. I made the hook, which is I brilliantly designed the level to point you towards that tunnel, and so they're going to want to go. Check mark, I win. I did it. But guess what? QAs play the game. Uh, achievement hunters play the game. Completionists play the game. So then don't go becomes the second one. Oops. And it's actually still a happy motivator, because it's like, could there be treasure over here behind this bush? Maybe I want to look around, right? So now you're in this environment where there's two motivations that can come from your one hook. Um, or in my case, now because I'm being subversive and trying to challenge the situation, I'm going to just still. I'm going to stand still. And I'm actually going to say that that's a frowny motivator because I'm being cynical and bitter about how all this works, right? But so here we go. Now there's three motivators and one hook. And how do you make this work? Well, this is where we're talking about the density, is that you can't just rely on the one hook to get you along, is that you have to have multiple hooks of different ways and different angles and different things so that the pile of hooks um, gets you to do it. If you know AI, this is weighted decision making, weighted as in the heaviness of it. So because you have so many good hooks that are saying go, 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 um, it just happens. So now, let's say we've already done this, but let's say we really markedly put stones here, and they're rocks, and they're big and they're multi-layered. So now you've got the hook here of hey, come this way, and then you have a hook which again, this goes kind of contrary to what a hook is arguably meant to mean, but this is a clear and distinct attribute, I guess, is what a hook is. It's a definite thing that is present that a player can latch onto as an object of motivation, and in their planning and their course decision making. So now you've got this homogeny of two hooks that are then saying that don't go is actually, just not a really good option, because don't go, like what? Am I going to don't go into the nowhere, or am I going to don't go into the also nowhere? It annuls the option. So then that goes away. So now we have two motivators, which are go, which has all sorts of supporting hooks, and it's great, and there's a beam of radiant sunlight on the thing, and so then it's just there is no denying this. We have a fire started. Oops, oh, I changed this to something else. Blah, blah, blah. We have a fire started in the background that's like encroaching. We're really making it happen that you're going to go in that tunnel. Um, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, so now we're competing with Oh, Stand Still. And it's like, well, now you certainly just can't because the fire's behind you, and it's going to literally kill you. And that's a motivator, or that's a hook. The motivation, I don't want to be killed in this. I want to progress, hopefully, if you've instilled the right hooks. Um, and so in all of this, we never made the motivators. We never pushed the player to do anything. All we did was tantalize. We brought it's the oh, I keep in what is it? Pepe Le Pew, the beautiful perfume of the cat who has the perfume. It drags you by the nose, and that's the definition of the motivator that I really wanted to dive into, which is, or the hooks rather, is that Pepe was hooked, but nowhere was he like, oh, this cat that had perfume that was this scent really resonated with me for these reasons, right? So let's see if I can. Ah, beautiful. What am I getting there? So let's do the MDA framework. DA framework. And it's the M and the D and the A, and the thing is MDA, mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics. I'm no master at this, no professional, but when you are the designer, your language and your understanding passes this way. And when you're an audience member, your understanding passes that way. So I don't want to get into this framework itself, but mechanics are systemic, they're functional, they're the things. So then in mechanics, I feel that you're building the hooks. But interestingly enough, as I've been delving into this, you apply them more just in the passage of dynamics to aesthetics. And motivations, the arrows, happen just before the passage of the aesthetics. So, you know, they talk about it, and aesthetics are basically what the motivator is, or not quite, but it's the result of what you want the experience to be, the aesthetic of it. So, oh wow, or ooh, or ooh, or or oh, you know, all of those things, the result, the experience of it, and the dynamics are how they get there, and the mechanics are how you facilitate that. Again, you can go into it. I'll put some links. There's some fun stuff. I found this really wild, like thesis and stuff. It's cool. But what I find is that there's a lot of stuff to this. I actually am going to go a bit on a tangent because this is all just great design stuff. Oh, come on, leave me alone. Fixed size. Go away. I just wanted to move these guys up because I put so much. Shit. Okay, here we go. Is that here we have a very hard disconnect, and these are not hooks, these are question marks. The or whatever smiley face guy that's like because when you're the designer and you're talking in mechanics, and they're talking about experience, you start to think around here that their experiences are turning into mechanics, experiences kind of thing. And it's like, no, that is absolutely irrefutably not what's happening. And right here, people get really, really buggered up and they lose sight of what's actually happening. And what's happening is this. On the experience side of things, they're listing pain and they're listing pleasure. And the ratio of that is like 100 to 1. They're only going to be talking about pain almost always explicitly. But they'll always come up with, here we go, they'll always come up with an idea. Here's the light bulb. They'll come up with an idea about that's trying to describe the experience that they're having. Oh, this is too hard. I just can't seem to figure this out. Maybe you make this easier. What if you made this easier to see? Or what if you change the wording? Blah, blah, blah. What if? And stuff like that. And this, you think, again, is the thing. Like, pa-ching, we got it. They did the work for us. And it's like, no. Again, this is this. You think they're going to be telling you the mechanics. They haven't programmed your game. They don't know what drives the finding stuff. They don't know what drives jumping or climbing things. That is all purely an aesthetic interpretation of it. That doesn't make any sense. It's a dream. It's a fantasy. So what you're actually supposed to be doing, oops. Oh, come on, it just really, thanks for drawing on the same page here. What you're actually doing here is they give you that, they give you that idea. Come on. They give you, they give you that idea, and you go, I'm hearing. I'm hearing. And then you got an earring right there. I'm hearing. And what it is that you're going to take that pane and you're going to take your mechanical understanding and you have all of your hooks lined up and you're going to go, you know, okay, I'm hearing, does the pane come here? 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 You know, and then you're going to go, oh, somewhere in the dynamics, we're accidentally setting up some hooks that are suggesting a game experience that we're not delivering on. And so, in turn, the experience that they're receiving isn't what they expect, and therefore they're in a position of pain. And what that then means is you're not going to go, I'm going to make this more easy to see. What you're going to go is why is it so hard to see? Is it not as clear? Is it too small? Is it all these other factors that they orbit, they're near the point. Because what this is, I'm just going to block it out. This idea is a gap, is an absence. So there actually isn't anything in there. You're trying to find the nearest. I'm just like piling up these drawings. You're just trying to find the nearest actual point, actual tangible thing that can describe the pain, and usually then give you something to grip onto to actually solve the problem and fix it. So then I just wanted to get into one last thing, which is I have a philosophy of the game speak. Oh. When I write fast, I do a really bad job. Elf. I was about to use my thumb to, whatever. Let it speak for itself. Yay. So what happens? Well, let the game speak for itself. This is a bit of a tangent again, but it all relates to those hooks and those motivations and stuff. So what happens is you have all of these motivators that you've been fostering, and it's so nice. And guess what? You've got all of these hooks over here, and the hooks are doing exactly what you want, and they're fucking just absolutely killing it. Well, not quite necessarily killing it, but making this happen. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you're trying to get at. But I always go, what are these? What are these motivators? Are they actually satisfying what you're doing or satisfying what the game is? Because very often you find yourself in this position where you're going, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? And it's because you started here. You made hooks and started building a game around it. And that's not a bad way to start your ideas, to start your vision is, try and make this hook and maybe make that hook and try making that hook. And oh, hey, look, this motivation came and this motivation came, and that's pretty cool. But then all of a sudden you just have, all of this and this and this and this and this, and it's like, wait, what? None of this is working. Like, it's just so much. And it's like, let the game speak for itself. While you're doing, these two things, you're going along, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, um, I find myself doing something over here. Well, it's a combination of, motivations and hooks. Um, you're doing something you love right here, and it's not the destination of your sights. And it's like, okay, but you're trying to get the game to, oops, I just cannot stop clicking that. You're trying to get the mechanics to go and drive the gears that'll bring you to this destination. We got to get there. That's my vision. And it's like, well, but wait, the game just keeps going. Hey, why don't you come over here? Oh, why don't you like, well, you just want to kill this? You always want to fight. Like, let's just go do these guys' things. So then it's like, well, why, why are you doing all of that part there? And you're putting dollars on it. Oh, I didn't get the green. This is some blue dollars, some sad dollars on all of this. And the game is literally going, la 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 la, right? And so then when you start actually having your sights set on going from path of least resistance to path of least resistance, you start finding yourself starting over in the motivators. Is that you start seeing that, oh, look, there's a beautiful yellow motivator over there. And oh, look, there's like a beautiful sky motivator over there. And oh, what a brilliant gold motivator over there. And so then you go, wait, those are just implicitly there. They're just like waiting for me to capitalize. So then it's like you make your hook, you make your hook, you make your hook, and all of a sudden you've got something going on. And all of a sudden you never had to force an issue. You never had to shove the thing anywhere it didn't have to be, nor did you have to find yourself backstepping and backstepping and backstepping, because you simply let the game speak for itself through its motivations that were just coming in out of you. I always found, like, one of the best ones is when you're playing a game and you're waiting for your friends, or you're the one they're waiting for and stuff like that. If you're just there smashing and slamming stuff, and then you go, oh shit, they're like way over somewhere else, and I've just been killing stuff with no regard. It's like, that's perfect. You were just hooked, and your motivations just drove you just completely without any kind of digestion. You were just going, and that's what that is at the end of the game. That's, in my case, Diablo 3, or Borderlands 2. Is when you're just sitting there killing stuff, and it doesn't matter if it's the stuff over there or the stuff over here. You just can't help it. You're just going and going and going, and the stuff's exploding. Your character's flying around and stuff. There was a lot of hooks. There was the character flying around, and then there was the explosions, and then there was the enemies explode, and then there's the, enemies have attacks, and then there's your character groans and gets hurt, and there's danger, and bosses hurt you really good, and if you die, you lose your character in hardcore mode, and all of a sudden, how can you not have exactly these motivations? And guess what? In Diablo 3, people grind, they had to implement quality of life stuff to stop people from being so utterly enthralled by the game. or at least to have breaks from being utterly enthralled by the game. And that's an effective use of hooks to solidify and manifest and assure, or more closely assure, we're never talking with certainty, um, motivations in players. So, I mean, again, I'm no master. I really hope that this gives you guys some stuff to look at. And yeah, definitely look into the MDA framework. I stole this online. I'm not paying these people, so give them some love. I'll put the link there to look at their thesis. Um, but yeah, there's all sorts of cool things about it. I did it all here myself. Um, and yeah, ultimately, uh, I am trying to find these in my own work right now. It's very, very hot, hotly at my heels, because these are the differences between. Well, I mean, it's like, how do you make tic-tac-toe fun, or like the 70th millionth Tetris? And it's like every once in a while there's a breakaway Tetris, and it's like people were like just running with stuff. Of course, in those cases, it's probably a different game of like how you rehash similar concepts, but in a engaging way visually and um, access and stuff. Of course, you never have a desktop Tetris; it's always mobile. Um, but yeah, in these motivations and stuff like that, I find there's way more revelation. Just watching what a player's doing, that's why you never are supposed to describe to them what they should be doing, because watching their course of action is literally them enacting their motivations on full display. So then it's just a matter of you going, wait, why did they have that motivation now? Like, what were the factors that we did that drove them to be this way? And so then, like, sometimes the answer is, oh, ignorance. And it's like, you can't blame that on them. You have to blame it on you and make things more clear, more described, more easily interpreted. And those are the hooks at the end. Is that by seeing the motivation, you then solidify backwards, like retroactively, then to have the hooks and say, we're going to catch the shark. And it's like, well, no, look at where the shark goes, look at where the shark prowls, look at what it eats, look when it eats, why it eats. And in all of that, then you go, I'll place a hook here, and I will place a hook here, and I will place a hook here, and these hooks will all be supported by this bait that I've made that is sure to attract sharks. And on that goes to the point where you you can't avoid you can't avoid falling into those, because it's like, do we care about this blank one? Do we care about this blank one? No, I mean, we're looking at all these hooks and these colored ones. Even the color here is hooking you more uh, than the non-colored uh, little examples. So it's like, I'm rambling at this point, but I just think it's so cool to just see the you energetic, like you feel yourself, like when I feel myself gravitate to these colored hook laden motivators. I go, wait, why did I, like, how was I so driven by this? And it's like, that's hooks. The hooks just, they make it happen just so easily and inherently. So always the first step in skepticism is to notice it yourself, in yourself. So watch everything you do. Look at banners, look at ads, look at phrases of things. Look at whenever you're stirred to change your course or to plot a course to something that was clearly intended. And you'll see that it wasn't one hook, it wasn't one inspiration, it was a trail of breadcrumbs that kept you in momentum all the way to your destination. And now you need to do that, not fall for it. You need to both do it to convince yourself on this plot as well as others along that plot, and then have it that once finally you get to that point where they're at the end going, you went, aha, I made that path. I made it. I cobblestoned the whole course of the way there. So good luck. Thanks for coming along. I hope that rambling, ranting dialogue gives you some something to chew on, something to grip at, and let me know what resonates, what doesn't, what works, what doesn't. So I'm always happy to expand on this and try and improve. Thanks for coming. Bye. Ooh. Haha.